Again, you're not forgiven.
Yes, sorry.
It says broadcasting. The YouTube thing says waiting.
Oh,
Maybe refresh it.
mine says live.
There we go.
Yeah, we're live.
Yes, we are. So, how is everyone? And welcome to our November live stream. If you could see images, I would have like air quotes around November.
Yeah.
I mean, we tried really hard, and I mean, we kind of almost made it.
It's a couple days off. I don't know. How many days are in November? 30?
30, yeah.
Oh, okay. So like 4 days.
Yeah, well, 2 days off. We're close enough.
We devote a huge chunk of November leading up to Christmas, so we should just take the first couple days and give it back to November. That's what,
Well, November's so sort of gray and dismal. I think it's all right to do 2 in December.
November was a really crappy month, so I don't know about you guys, but for me, it wasn't that great of a month.
No. Kind of an
Well-
insignificant one. I don't know.
It's just one of those that you want to sort of get over with.
Yeah, it's like, okay, let's just hold our breath and get to November so we can go to December, the crappiest month of the year.
Yeah.
I was out yesterday. I had to go pick up some things, and it wasn't fun. There were too many people out.
Well, I'm done my Christmas shopping, so that's a good thing.
Wow.
It only took me 1 trip to Loblaws.
I feel like finishing the shopping in August.
Yeah. No, I did it on the last weekend. I felt like getting it done, and there's a lot of good, it's like upscale things that you can eat. So no one has to take home something that they're not quite happy with. They can just eat it or give it to someone else.
that's pretty clever. Edible
I
Christmas.
can't think about Christmas shopping right now. Oh God. Shopping.
Food like a month in advance to give to people for Christmas.
Yeah. I'll do it on like the 23rd of December.
Well, you're like me
And
usually.
Yeah.
I did my 23 of December styles, but just on the 23rd of November.
You want to get
That's
into the game.
Yeah.
And for Valentine's Day, you do everything in January.
That's when you get the deals. Like you buy your winter coat in summer, you buy your Valentine's Day gifts in September.
Yeah, I think I missed Black Friday, but that was sort of the idea, was to get in while there is some deals.
Yeah. Black Friday lasts like a week and a half now, so.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Every time I worked in a retail store, it just goes on and never ends until they run out of all their crap.
Well, there's also Cyber Monday now, so there's no real excuse to go out and trample people to death if you don't have to.
No, and most of the good deals, like they're online, like a week. You have like Black Friday a week, and then you have Cyber Monday with all the other deals.
Yeah.
But like a week and a half worth of deals online. Like why? With shipping, if you really need it that fast, you can pay for expedited shipping and get it within a few days.
For sure.
Well, I feel like you can always
get me into a Walmart that's like full of 1,000 people all like.
I went to Walmart yesterday.
Oh.
The only hair dye that I have, and I need to get curtain things, and it's the cheaper place for it. So and then like I didn't think it through. Like Saturday afternoon at Walmart in December.
No, it's so bad. That's last year I did my Christmas shopping at the Dufferin Mall Walmart.
Yeah.
Really stupid idea, like the weekend before Christmas, and everyone was yelling at me.
Oh my God.
It was hot in there. People were upset. There was like nothing left.
Babies were.
Yeah, and then they all go to church and continue screaming through Saturday morning mass or whatever, Sunday morning mass. I don't know. It crossed my mind to go to Walmart as I was going home on the radio. They were like, "Oh, by the way, it's Black Friday," and I was like, "Oh yeah, maybe I could go to Walmart." No way.
Forgot that it was Friday, and I went out. So I went to eat there, and then I took the path area, and it wasn't until like I was in the path area and it was jam packed that I remembered that it was Black Friday. I'm like, oh.
Oh yeah.
Which isn't a thing we should have to worry about in Canada, given it's not Thanksgiving, but we do.
Yeah, our Thanksgiving
Yeah.
is like a month before American Thanksgiving. I mean, we don't have sales around our Thanksgiving, so it doesn't really make any sense.
No,
Yeah.
we should. We should have like our Black Friday's in October, so it's
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Haha, you guys can do your shit. And it's just people in Canada not going to the States. But like
Pretty much. Yeah.
was shooting or something with Black Friday. It was in the States. It was nuts.
That used to be the thing. People used to drive from Canada to like Buffalo and do all their shopping there. Yeah.
Yeah, my family used to do that when I was a kid. We would go like before back to school time.
And it'd be like a fun family trip.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then you could go and be like, oh, cool, I got this from some American store that we don't have it. Well, we have like all the stores now, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
Well,
like,
we don't have Target.
oh, we don't have
Like
Target?
Hot Topic though, or like something like that you like do when you're like a kid.
Target was briefly here in Canada, but it was a miserable failure.
Yeah, and then they pulled out. It's like, nope, never mind. Let's forget.
It's just so random. It's like
You know
one
what I
Tim
like about
Hortons.
Target is that it was like smaller and kind of reminded me of Zellers, so it's easier to find things. Because I always preferred Zellers over Walmart. Walmart's it's too much.
That's why Zellers closed, was because they wanted to bring in Target, I think.
Yeah, I think
That's exactly it. And then it was basically like a different version of Walmart that wasn't a less superior version a less superior version of Zellers.
Well,
Did you
they're
guys
all,
know that?
sorry, they're all big ass Dollaramas, I think.
Yeah.
I actually love Dollarama. Everything at Dollarama.
Yeah.
I found a John Cena toothbrush that plays his song like in your mouth.
What?
Yeah, I'm not even
In your
kidding.
mouth.
At the Dollarama across the street.
That's awesome.
It like plays it when you brush your teeth.
Yeah, like my friend was shopping for shoe insoles and a toothbrush. So we went to Dollarama and I was really pissed that she didn't get the John Cena one.
That's awesome.
Why not? So were you gonna say something, Michael?
Oh yeah, I was gonna tell you guys. I don't know if you know this, but I briefly was the poster boy for Zellers.
What?
I was right before they closed. The year before they closed, I was part of their ad campaign, and I was in this ridiculous Zellers commercial that ran for a few months.
Nice.
I kind of don't believe you.
It's only on the dark web now. It's the only way you can watch it.
Yeah.
But it happened.
Okay.
It was one of my early gigs.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. That's awesome.
Sellers.
So
It was actually really funny. Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
It was this really kind of funny self-deprecating ad because the whole premise was that they knew that they were going to close. So they're like making way for Target, but not really saying the name Target. They make some crack about how there's like a bullseye in their back, so they have to close. And
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
it was funny.
It was like a funeral commercial.
Yeah. It may have even been the last campaign they ever did. I don't know.
Well, that's kind of a cool thing to say that you're in the last like Zellers campaign, though. It's a pretty iconic like Canadian story.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
it's
part
kind
of Zellers history now. You're going to be in the history books.
of Sellers.
Pretty much.
Zellers.
Yeah, there's probably someone keeping track.
Zellers historian out there.
Well, I have to say that a lot of what you do, like even if you don't necessarily get instant recognition for things you do, it's like planting seeds for your future biographer.
Yeah.
Pretty. Yeah.
So someone to be able to be like, Michael Lake at that time was the spokesperson for the last ever Zellers commercial, which was an enormous chain in Canada at the time, and everyone will be like, wow, it'll come through.
Pretty much.
It'll all pay off.
Fun.
Hope so.
Yeah, no, it'll be one of those things during an interview that you can just bring up, or during like a live stream or something.
Yeah. I hope to bring it up during a live stream one day. That'd be a good segue.
If anyone wants an update on the chocolate milk, I'm well over halfway on 2 liters of chocolate milk, and I predict I will finish it before we're done.
I want to get like
That's impressive.
liter.
It's $2 at Fresh and Easy right now, down from $6.
So you
no way.
have to drink it all. I mean,
I don't have to. No, I don't have to.
but it's
I did offer you like a
Have-
cup on the fridge for it, but no, you opted not to.
I'm gonna go work out at a playground afterwards, so I'll put it to work.
at a play, like on a jungle gym.
Yeah. They're actually. I'm thinking about, speaking of web series, doing a web series where we, where I do like workout on playground, like how to not, things to do, things to not do, and how to work out. There's a lot of different workouts you can do. I mean, it's like calisthenics basically, and then you want to not stare at children, maybe not, maybe have a shirt on. That's a good idea. Not be there for too long. Stuff like that. Even in the middle of the night, I mean, it's good when there's no kids there, but the middle of the night is also sort of creepy. So yeah, you definitely have to watch out from being creepy, but it's a really great place to work out.
Hanging out on playgrounds, getting stoned in the middle of the night is also quite fun.
Mm.
I've heard. So I've heard. Yeah, let's do that. Heard.
There's just something so, like, there's just such a novelty to hanging out on a playground as an adult. I can't describe it. Like,
Yeah.
I get way more ecstasy out of swinging on a swing now than I probably ever did as a child.
Especially when you take ecstasy.
I was asked if I was homeless once because I was sitting on a playground as a teenager.
When someone like offered
really?
you,
No, like
Jane.
people from the city of Toronto were like, I guess like going around like making sure like teens were okay. Or like, I don't know. I was just chilling on a playground. And they're like, "Do you have somewhere to sleep tonight?" I was like, "Yeah, my house, my mom's house. I live a block away." I was like really alarmed, and then I was really self-conscious for the rest of the day that I like looked homeless or like,
yeah.
why?
Yes, person. I have a place tonight. Conveniently, it's just over there in that tube.
Yeah, right here.
Don't judge me in my home choices.
Yeah, I should have told him to get off my property.
I will not be harassed.
If you'd started screaming and yelling and throwing things, that would have been perfect to convince him of your sanity.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, absolutely. They definitely wouldn't have to call anybody after that. They could definitely do that.
Yeah, they would just leave you alone. That's how that works, right?
So, are there any updates, Rain, on our web series?
Web series / potential show, and we just call it a show at this point.
Oh, okay, cool.
The script is 40 pages, so
For like the first episode, or
first episode.
wow.
Yeah, I just got the I just saw the email now actually.
Yes, I just sent it out a little bit before the webcast before.
Yeah.
So I expect that all of you have read the entirety of that script by now, right? I know I sent it out
like 20 minutes since it was sent out.
Yeah.
I got it yesterday, so yeah, I read it.
Nice.
Did you? Was it yesterday? I thought it was a few days ago I sent it to you.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. The days all blend together, but yeah, I've read it, and I'm really happy and excited about what's coming up.
Me too. Episode 3 is almost totally finished, right? How's that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because Michael, you're helping with the writing on that one?
I am.
Yeah,
Nice.
the season. So I'm taking, what is it? Episode 1, 4, 6, 9, and 10. And then Michael has 2, 3, 5, 7, 8.
Yes.
So,
Basically, what we've been doing for the past few months is Rain and I have been sort of breaking the episodes together, and then writing them. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit of a process. Lisa also took part in that for a little bit too, and then unfortunately had to step out because other commitments, which is fine.
So is this one now a full one, or is it split into 2 parts?
No, it's a full
It's
one.
a full one? Okay.
It's full.
It's full of
It's like an hour, I guess.
yeah. I mean,
More or less, yeah.
our unfortunately, one of the places where I was submitting it, they have like a 50-page requirement.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Going through it and trying to figure out like I was trying to figure out like, okay, where can I add? Like I have to add like 10 extra pages. Where can I do that? But there isn't really a spot to do it without like watering down the show or the episode.
Yeah.
Right? So I just took a chance and submitted it as is, and like I just really hope that that like they'll still look at it even though the page requirement's not there.
What about more Cassidy?
I don't really. I mean, we get Cassidy throughout the season, so like yeah, we could, but there's really no good spot.
Mhm.
Herself, which we could do.
Oh, what about fight choreography?
But I mean, we kind of do have a verbal fight.
Nice.
You should just triple space the last 10 pages and stretch it out a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when you do like a high school essay and you slightly change the font or something.
Just up at like 14-point font.
Yeah, it's like 10.5.
And now we have a 70-page pilot.
Cool. Interesting.
And then there's some, and then the other places, like I'm looking at some writing competitions and whatnot, and they don't have, they're like, no more than 70 pages, but you don't give me a minimum. So, yeah.
50 is a pretty big minimum, too. Like, that's
Yeah.
a lot.
But like I was looking at some other hour-long shows, I looked at a whole bunch of other scripts, and they're like 50 to 70 pages for like one episode.
Yeah.
It's like even like a half-hour show was like 40 pages, 40 to 50 pages. It's like
I think it
that's
also depends on, I guess, the dialogue, right? Like, if they're having a very quick back and forth between the characters, then I guess there would be
Yeah.
a lot more material.
and the problem is like all of Act 4, there's almost no dialogue, and it's like all paragraphs of descriptions. So again, like yeah, it might only be 40 pages, but like there's probably a good 50, 55 minutes of material in there.
For sure. Yeah.
But like it's just unfortunately everything is just description. I could space it out a bit more, I guess, and give even more descriptions, and I'm sure I could add like more detailed description in between the things with the action line. And I guess I could stretch out like 10 pages that way. But no.
Yeah, that's a lot still. 10 pages is a lot.
3 or 4 are fine. I can get away with a scene, but like
Yeah.
that's like 5 2-page scenes.
What about the fact that, I mean, episode 2 starts off where episode 1 lets off, so you could take some from episode 2 if you really wanted to for this contest?
Yeah, but then well, no, it's not the contest. The contest is good. It's the other place I submitted it that had the requirement. The contests are fine. I'm not worried about that. No, the place where I really wanted to go that I can't talk about right now on a live thing. Yeah, no, they had that requirement. But again, I'm hoping that they overlook it just because, like, I know that they are looking for stuff and we have it really well. So, fingers crossed on that one.
And then what about shooting a little sort of teaser even or something like this?
Yeah, it's what we're looking at. Well, we're looking at different options that we can be doing in the year. Also, it helps that like I have my own gear on the way, so rental costs will be a little less of a thing. So
Nice.
like, I can't afford, if it's a money thing that comes down to it, a little bit like last time, that won't be an issue.
Cool.
But again, we have our fundraiser. That's kind of awesome that we've hit our goal.
Oh, really?
Unfortunately, the goal, the money that didn't come in, some of it wasn't through Kickstarter. So we have like 3 people who've pledged on Kickstarter, and we need that number to go up in order for that to actually go through. Because it's like if we don't raise the minimum of 500 through Kickstarter, then we don't get any of what's there.
Oh.
So I'm looking at, unfortunately, if I take the money that was received from your donor, and I submit it through the Kickstarter to hit our thing, which I might do, then we have to pay, like, they take their portion, whereas like that 500 is free and clear ours otherwise. So,
Right.
I mean, overall, looking at it, we've raised $536 so far.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then with my double, we're looking at 1,050, 60 something.
Hmm.
So almost 1,100.
Nice. Yeah, that's definitely an accomplishment.
Oh, absolutely. It'll go a long way. And then hopefully we see those numbers go up. I have a press release thing that you have to get done today and out. So I'm hoping that'll help.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah.
And any of you listening, if you want to donate, there'll be the links in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe.
Nice.
Did you do a press? What was it? How does that work?
Press release?
Yeah.
It goes out to different places and it just talks about like the actual fundraiser that we're doing.
Yeah.
So it goes out to different media outlets and that kind of stuff. And then if if anyone wants to cover it, then they get like articles and that sort of thing.
Oh, cool.
It's just, it helps with publicity. And even if it doesn't help with our Kickstarter, it would definitely help with just kind of like spreading word
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Anything, right? Like to get out there, then yeah. That's,
Well, that's the goal. Like,
yeah.
we didn't hit our goal with our Facebook page for November, but that's okay.
What was the number?
Our goal was to reach 1,000 likes.
Oh, okay.
But in the press release could potentially lead to like a little interview on a little community radio show even, or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, any press that we can pick up at this point is always good.
Interviews are fun.
They are. I love interviews.
Nice.
Gotten to do a couple radio interviews. One of them was just like it was going to air later, and there's another one that was live.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
Oh, I was just at the Blood in the Snow festival.
How was that?
Yeah, it was with a little short that we did called Itch that was a little silly. It was just me itching my hand and then getting worse and worse and worse and scour patting it and meat tenderizing it and then ultimately cutting it off with a cleaver. And yeah, but the festival was excellent. There was a lot of really cool films there. And one of the events at it was exactly like doing a podcast. So there was all the people who'd made films past to do a little interview on that, and then there was something called Fern Television as well, which is a guy I think named Fernandado or something, like his both names started with Fern. So there's a Fern TV out there, and there's obviously a lot of podcasts, but it was a really cool festival and lots of cool activities and obviously networking and everything. There was a movie called Darken by Audrey Cummings. I want to drop that name, and that was a wicked movie, and hopefully everyone gets to see it at Carlton Cinema or the Royal or wherever it ends up playing.
Oh,
And
cool.
it's like a Canadian indie horror movie convention, or what was the Blood on the Snow thing?
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's I should say Blood in the Snow Canadian Horror Film Festival. So it's Canadian films. There was a really good one from Nova Scotia. There was the Audrey's she's from Sept-Îles, Quebec, but she works in Toronto here. This is her second, I think, big feature. And then there was a bunch of movies, from all over Canada.
That's cool.
And there was like a mixture of features and short films. Like every feature had a short before it, and then there was a couple nights of just a bunch of shorts. So yeah, it was fun.
I was in a film in that festival as well.
This year?
Yeah.
Which film?
It was a film called Blood Child.
Oh, you were in that one? Nice. Yeah, that one had a really nice reception.
Yeah, it's got a very big cast. Like, it's a pretty big ensemble. So there was a lot of kind of moving parts to making it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was really happy to be a part of it, and I'm
So you know Emily Shuley?
Yeah, very well. She's the one who actually got me into that one.
Oh, word up. Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw her at the festival, and the girl who was acting in that one, and then she'd also directed a short film that was in the festival. She won a Vanguard Award.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds really familiar. What's a Vanguard Award?
Oh, it's just like the awards at this festival are called the Bloodies, and so yeah, so you win. There's best short, best feature, and both were won by a woman this year, best short and best feature, and then there's one called Vanguard, which I think is just like a new talent, someone who's coming up and starting out and has done a significant contribution. So the fact that she had like starred in that feature that Mike just mentioned, as well as having directed. Yeah. Oh, and then there was one cool award.
Sean, you dropped out.
Oops. I'm in? Okay. I'll finish maybe with this whole tangent with the last award that was won by this guy. I forget what they call. No, I'm sorry. I think I called the Vanguard Award that other one, but this one is the Vanguard. And it was won by a guy named Ty Bartlett, who seems to have been in a ton of Canadian horror and films. And it was an effort on the behalf of the festival to begin making a Canadian star system to recognize people, who've done significant contributions in the independent Canadian film industry. And he was like crying, and it was like it was a really beautiful moment.
Yeah.
You weren't there, Michael, for that last film there in the Bloodies?
No, unfortunately not, but I was just agreeing with the sentiment. I really like when you get to see moments like that, and
Yeah, we got to develop that, right? We got to keep building that and recognize each other's efforts and stuff.
I made a film for a thing for the aunties at my work, but sorry, what was that?
Wait, what was that?
Oh, I'm just chiming in with the conversation about festivals. Like a month or two ago, I made a film for like my work's festival thing called The Anties. It's
Nice.
like second year of it or something.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, that was a thing.
Nice.
I'll just plug in their stuff like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We should do that. What have you been up to, Emma?
Lately just working in a just like regular job, but now I'm not doing that anymore. So now I'm back to the freelancing thing again.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I needed some money. So
Right, sure. Was that a big step leaving the job? I mean, did it take some courage?
No? No, only if it's a career does it actually like bother me if I'm like doing something different. But no, it wasn't like a career path thing, so I wasn't really concerned.
So now you're sort of giving it to the acting thing, or?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yes. I would like to be able to not do my job thing anymore and just go to producing and editing and that. I'd like to go back to that. That would be nice.
Yeah, I think especially after a while, it's been just kind of like I need to maybe do something a little more creative so I feel a little less like But I'm still, pretty poor, so.
Yeah, we have that whole issue of like we need to make money in order to.
Exactly. Well, and then also living in Toronto, like the most like expensive city in the world. So.
Yeah, I mean, Vancouver used to be that, but I mean, Toronto, like having come from Vancouver to Toronto, it's pretty much on par. Like they're equal now.
Yeah.
Except I think the housing market here isn't quite as bad as Vancouver.
I think because we're larger than Vancouver, that we have a little more, I don't know, housing options, but it's pretty bad there.
I think it has a little more to do with like Vancouver's it's full of more people who are just like rich.
Yeah.
So they have money to spend on things. And so it's harder. And there are like a lot of people who they have buildings and no one's in them or houses. And just because the rent that they want to charge, no one's paying. So at least now they have that whole house tax thing. Where like if you have a building or house like that, you got to pay more money unless you rent it out. So I like that because it'll help with the housing thing. I don't know when that's starting. But like, I hope that helps them with their housing thing.
Yeah.
Try
No,
to-
I haven't heard of that. It's what, like a way to
It's-
regulate the rent more, or
yeah, it's like a housing tax.
yeah.
Building a house that's empty, that you're not renting out because you can't find people who want to pay a ridiculous price. You have to pay extra tax on it. You have to pay more money.
Oh, that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Property
So it'll
tax-
maybe encourage them to drop their price a bit, or
yes,
And just rent it out, even if it's for less.
yeah, just
yeah.
to pay that extra tax. Like they don't have to pay that extra tax.
That's actually
It's not like a win.
pretty smart.
You're making money. It'll help with the cost, and you don't have to pay more money for your tax. That kind of seems like a win situation.
They should do that with people who have like that waste of space land. Like sometimes people own a property and they knock the building down and then it's just an empty lot for like 10 years.
Yeah,
In my neighborhood, it was like an abandoned daycare that we used to break into when we were kids. They bulldozed it. Literally for the last like 10 years, it's been the ugliest empty lot. And it's like prime real estate too. Like it's on the lake shore. It's worth a lot of money. I don't know why no one's done anything with it. Fucking eyesore.
Well, it could be like affordable, but like reasonable looking housing.
Exactly. Like they could build affordable apartments or God, like put a park or something. Anything is better than an empty lot.
Well, I had an interesting sort of thing. Like number of months ago, a friend of a friend from Mexico, my friend's from Quebec, but she's living in Mexico, and this is a friend of hers, I guess, in Mexico. He came, and basically what I could understand, because he speaks no English whatsoever, he was here to help further Mexicans that were coming, that were going to work in Leamington. If you're familiar with that, that's like, farms, and it's a lot of Mexicans and Jamaicans who work on the farms. And so I was like, and so he had to go to the airport to meet them. And I'm like, well, why don't you go downtown and meet them downtown? And he's like, well, they need my help. They don't speak any English. But as I just mentioned, this guy himself didn't really speak any English, so I don't know how he was helping them. But anyways, he did the Leamington thing, and he's now been back. He was at my place for the last 3 nights, and he found an apartment with his friend, like at Dufferin. He kept just saying Dufferin. I guess what he meant by that was around the Dufferin subway station. And somehow they found an apartment in 1 day. So it is possible.
Oh wow. 1 day.
Yeah. I think it was because of Mexican Connects. I don't know if that's a thing in Toronto.
They spoke Spanish and the landlord spoke Spanish and they like that or something. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Like they sort of stick amongst themselves, and
Or they just slipped him a little extra money or something.
they did seem pretty wealthy somehow.
in Vancouver last year, I was looking for a place with some people, and we were having a really hard time finding a place. So I went online and I was looking because we kept getting denied. And it turned out that like one of the things that people were doing was like they would take where the price was like the asking price for rent, and they would pay more than that, and that's why people were getting screwed. So I decided to try it too. So there's a place that I found. There's a couple of places, and both places I offered more money than what they were asking for rent. It was like an extra $100 or $200 or something. No, one of them was like an extra 100, and that didn't work. So it's like an extra 300 or 400 on the next one, and we got the place pretty quick.
Oh my God.
And then the place turned out to be like a pile of crap, and yeah. So I'm still not sure whether or not it was because of the extra money or because it was a piece of crap apartment. I think it was a little bit of both.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, and like the one day they were like the landlord left the water on in his apartment upstairs. Like
Oh jeez.
so like he left it running, and then it started to leak through our ceiling in one of the rooms. So we shut off the power off because all electrical wiring was in there, and there was like this huge puddle on the ground. We had to get buckets.
Oh
Wow.
jeez.
You mentioned a roof caving in before. This isn't the same,
No,
like
Is it?
the roof cave in.
yeah, this is the roof.
The toilet falling through
The other,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
well, yeah. I
That's a-
haven't had the best luck with apartments.
Wow. From the toilet falling through the ceiling to then what was it, the carpet in a bag of crap or soaked in wet. Anyways, multiple negative apartment experiences for Rain, but a really nice.
Not enough that like the door fell off the bathroom in this apartment. Like
Sorry.
the bathroom door fell off.
In the one you're in right now?
Yeah, it just fell one day. And then you would have to like kind of shove it into like a corner to get it to close. And it was like this for like 5 months.
Oh no.
Finally, the landlord just came in and fixed it in about 2 seconds. And I was like, oh, well, thanks. The cabinets caved in too, but my drunk friend fixed it somehow. He just like shoved them back together. I'm not quite sure how that worked.
Your friend probably doesn't know either.
I don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
One minute I look over and there's a person on top of the fridge fucking around with the cabinets, and the next minute the cabinets are fixed. So fine.
He's drunk. You're not exactly a, I don't know what you'd call that, but like someone who fixes things around the house?
Carpenter? Wait, no.
I wanted to say, yeah, handy woman? Person, handy person. That's better.
Handy. Yeah.
Handy friend.
Handy capable.
Yeah, handy. Wait, no.
All right, Michael, Sean, what are your crappy apartment stories? You must have something.
I've often like taken the cheapest possible apartment and made the best of it, even though it's maybe initially seemingly a negative situation. Like I'll be in a basement in Montreal in a lost area, and living with like a Moroccan and an Algerian and a Quebecois and stuff like that, all stuffed in there. But I mean, I still received couch surfers. And even one time, I mean, my room was a big ass bed I'd received because I was a moving person. That was my 4th job at the time. And then I'd also gotten a couch that folded out. And if you folded but the 2 of them in the room, if you folded up the couch, the room was like bed. It was just only bed, the whole space of the entire room. And at one point I made the mistake of booking 2 girls couch surfers. And so they were both sleeping in there. So in one room in this little basement apartment, but it was a really cool space and you could make it work even though the ceilings were sort of low and it was a bit dirty, but you know, if you kept it clean, and there was an amazing garden in the backyard that you could go and sit in and stuff. So, you know, it's like making the best of a not ideal initial situation. And I mean, it was $350 a month. So.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Rents in Montreal are a lot cheaper though. Here, are they not?
True enough, yes.
Yeah.
They are, yeah.
I mean, how many years ago was this too?
Good point as well. It was, it was 5+ years ago.
Okay, yeah. Like back in 2007, the place I lived in with the toilet falling to the floor. Like a friend and I were splitting rent, and I think the rent was like 300 or 600, so it was like 300 each. And part-time at the time, and like, so like that was a lot of money still for me, especially because I was working part-time at a TV station. And yeah, like now I look at that and like I would love to live in a place where even just 600 a month for the whole rent for a 1-bedroom, even if it is crappy like that, that seems really great. I'd still take that place.
Yeah, I'd take cheap. Like, I mean, as long as there's no bed bugs, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to burn all my stuff. So.
Or silverfish.
Or silver. Oh, gross. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Silverfish I can deal with more than I can deal with centipedes. For some reason, I find them so fucking creepy. I can't.
They're scary.
I think it's like skitter around the floor.
I had an apartment that had centipedes. And I didn't discover this until I was packing up to move, and I had been up for 24 hours because I decided to wait till the last minute. So I'm like really sleep deprived, and suddenly there's a centipede going across the floor, and that really freaked me out.
Oh, jeez.
Apparently, they can bite you.
Thank you.
Because my friend recently got bitten by a centipede, and it was actually in her jeans when she was putting her pants on. She didn't know it was. I guess she left them on the floor, so it bit her on the ass, and she got a horrible like rash from it. Like it was like they have venom, and you can be allergic.
Jeez. That's terrifying.
And now my fears are even worse because
as if there's not enough fear in the world already.
You're gonna find it in your pants.
This is information I didn't need to know.
Yeah.
Check your pants for centipedes.
The venom is actually in their legs. Their legs are hollow. And when they touch your skin, they can release a tiny bit of venom. And if you're allergic to it, it's not good.
Jeez.
Brain is like bowing her head.
No.
What about earwigs though? I think they can bite you too, and they're the worst.
They can. I found one on my pillow once. Like
Oh
just
yeah.
across my fucking pillow. I don't know how, because it was on the second floor too, and usually you see those in like basements.
So that like pervades you, and you're like, oh my god, they're everywhere. They could be anywhere. They'll be there all the time.
I didn't want to sleep that night. It was horrible. I hid it under like a glass. Like I was too scared to kill it because they're actually kind of hard to kill.
See, now I'm not gonna be able to sleep tonight.
Yeah.
Like an October one.
Yeah. It's getting scary.
This is true fear. So, Michael, no stories from apartments?
I don't have a story about the apartment itself because I actually did enjoy living there quite a bit. But the last place I lived, there was this really, really creepy mangy cat that lived in the neighborhood.
Mangy or mangy?
Oh, yeah, however you say that. And it would come and terrorize me and my cat like constantly. There was a brief time where I didn't have a balcony when I was like sort of under repair, and I was living on the third floor. And somehow this cat would scale its way like all the way up the side of the house just to knock on my window, just to terrorize me and my cat.
Oh my god.
And I don't know why we were the targets, but I guess as soon as I figured out another cat was living there, it was constantly coming to our window. I'd be like lying in bed at like 1 p.m. and then my cat would start making this creepy guttural noise like it was getting ready to attack, and I would always know what was about to happen. And the next like literally like 30 or 40 minutes, they would just paw at each other from opposite sides of the glass, and they would get so worked up and so furious. It was terrifying. And I think that probably happened about once a week for the course of 2 or 3 years.
Oh my god.
Oh my.
Cat had some fucking problems with you.
It was almost a ritual at that point. I don't know. I hope. Yeah, it was.
I thought the time that a cat ran in from the alley was bad enough. That was pretty gross. But at least it was like a non-mangy cat. It had a home, for sure. It ran into the apartment.
Ouch.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was not what I wanted to do that evening. The animal control.
This cat would actually sink its claws into like my screen door and like shake it.
Oh my god.
That was horrifying.
I was living, yeah. I wish I had told that story for the Halloween podcast, but the first time this ever happened, I hadn't lived there for that long, and it was around Halloween, and I don't have a balcony at this point, and I don't know this cat exists, and I just hear my balcony door opening. So I literally thought at that moment, this is how I die. Like, this is it. I've rarely been that terrified in my entire life. And then I saw that it was a cat, and then my cat registered that there was some other creepy cat in the neighborhood, and it just spiraled out of control from there.
For a few years.
Yeah, it went on for a long time.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 years is beyond a long time.
Maybe that cat just like needed love
Yeah,
or attention, or
it was the wrong way to go about getting love or attention. But
Like a child who just acts out because that's, like attention's attention.
yeah.
pretty much.
I'm comparing mangy cats to children now.
Well, close enough.
Taking a different turn. This life is taking a different turn.
That's definitely a phenomenon. Those like furry children, like dog and cat children these days. No one wants
In general, but yeah.
either as practice children or just as replacement children. I mean, like, screw human children. I just need a dog. Is what a lot of people think. I think.
Well,
Yeah.
they grow up to hate you, so.
I've seen a lady walk her dog around in a stroller at the mall.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
With a little sweater on and stuff?
Yeah, no, like I used to work in a fairly expensive store, I guess, and like the amount of crazy dog ladies that would come in with the little poodles and have them in like some sort of basket or their purse or whatever. It was really disturbing.
I don't understand why people would do that.
I don't. It's a dog. It's fine.
Well, it's like a little girl playing with her baby.
It's really disturbing when it's like a middle-aged woman, though. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's some like psychology there that's I don't want to get into. I don't want to think about that.
So, can I say something?
Sorry?
Can I say something, or has anyone else got points on that point? No? I can say something?
Yeah, go for it.
I just heard a thing on CBC as I was driving over here. It was ridiculous. And I'll be brief about it, but has anyone heard of the safe haven rules?
No.
Sounds familiar, but refresh us.
It's in the States. Canada does not have a safe haven law as it stands. And basically it means that all the states ended up adopting it. It means you can leave your baby with the state. Like you can abandon it after, you don't leave it in a dumpster, you leave it with the state.
Yeah. You can leave them legally at a fire station, right, or a police station.
Yeah.
Under a certain age, I think.
Yeah, now that you mention it, I remember seeing that in Canada, but apparently like, it doesn't exist legally in Canada or whatever. But in Nebraska, they changed it back. But when they initially started up the law, they didn't put an age limit on it. Like usually it says you can leave them up to 30 days old.
Oh my God.
But in Nebraska, they said you can leave it at any age. And unforeseen, it caused a tidal wave of people abandoning their children to the state up to
Oh my God.
18 years old.
Like, here's my 13-year-old son. Just I can't with him anymore.
I was just thinking that, like, 13, yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
Would someone do that to their dog? I don't know. It's insane. Like one guy, I don't know, but the mom had died, and he had 9 kids. And he's like, oh, it's too overwhelming. I can't take it. And of course, he expected his wife to have taken care of them before she passed, but he left them all to the state, ranging from I think like 4 to 18 years old.
Oh my God.
And they had an interview with this older woman who had ended up taking all of those kids because before she said, I'll take them all, they were going to send one here, one there, one here, one there. So she ended up taking all of these kids. It was
wow.
tremendous.
Um,
Like, I don't know, as much as there are people who don't want their own kids, I mean, it sounds insane, but there are people who want kids and don't have them too. So it's like,
it seems like a good, way to solve that problem.
in an insane world, it was the sanest choice.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a lot about the world in general. Or people as a whole. But, I mean, at least there was that positive outlook on the story, I guess.
Yeah, there's something uplifting there, even though it's very sad in general. I mean, it's really weird. People were even coming from other states to leave their children. Like, they would take a 6-hour drive to leave their kids. I mean, like, you know how you see a film where they're taking their animal to the forest to let it go? It's like, you have to go now. Live your own life. It's like that, but way worse. I mean, obviously. Then driving 6 hours back home after having left all your kids, it's insane. I don't know. It sounds unbelievable.
It's a really great threat if the kid's being bad, though. I mean, like, I'm just going to drop you off at the fire station. It's legal here.
That's a terrible threat. That kid required therapy for the rest of their life.
For real.
Take your 10-year-old, put your 10-year-old in a cage, break it to like a fire station, leave him there.
Yeah, we have like food and water.
Yeah.
Boy.
I don't know if you guys have seen this, but there are these photos of like old New York City, and they have these weird like cages that they used to stick out of apartments.
Yeah, I've seen that. The baby cage.
The baby cage.
So your baby could get fresh air.
It was a real thing.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah, I mean
Although they used to give kids like cocaine and heroin and like medicine bottles back then too. So.
Oh, you might be coming back to that.
Or Laudamine or whatever it was called. It was like alcohol mixed with cocaine and like a little bit of heroin or something like that.
Poppy
And it was sold by Bayer.
Sounds like a fun weekend.
I was reading this. I'm reading this book called The Psychopath Test, and it's by John Ronson, who wrote, I think probably his most famous book is The Men Who Stare at Goats.
Oh yeah.
And he goes and interviews all these people who sort of have psychopathic tendencies, trying to figure out if they are a psychopath or not. But long story short, he investigates this one story where this mother accidentally killed her 3-year-old daughter because anytime her daughter was acting up, her strategy to deal with that was to just give her a sleeping pill.
Oh god.
So like that, I mean, parenting 101, you should probably not give your children adult medicine.
Yeah. Maybe don't drug your kids at all. I don't know.
I know, especially not as discipline, Like,
I mean, if you want them to go to sleep, just make them run a couple laps in the yard or something. Like they'll get tired.
Lots of running around.
Oh.
It's the same way you would tire out your dog.
Just go run around in the yard for a bit, and then you should be good. Time for
yeah, like it's a 3-year-old kid. They'll tire themselves out. You don't need to.
give them a cup of like warm milk or something, and
You really don't need to drug your kid.
or like tell them a story about your day, or like talk about like politics or whatever kids find really boring. Like,
Yeah, but that might put the parent to sleep.
yeah.
The kid's still jumping around all over the place.
You can listen to like a Ken Burns documentary and like you're asleep, the kid's still up.
Well, and maybe not give them a ton of candy. Like, I don't know in that case of that one, but it's quite possible that they were like giving the kid whatever they wanted that drove them insane, and then give them drugs to calm them down. It's definitely planting the seed of like what the child will be in the future.
It's those kids in the child beauty pageants that they give Mountain Dew in like a baby bottle. I saw a thing about them on TV and it was really disturbing. They like actually give the kids so much sugar so they dance around.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Then there's such a crap.
Right. Yeah, and again, like sort of establishing a behavior that will go on. Like they call marijuana being a gateway drug. I think sugar is the gateway drug for sure.
I think caffeine is the gateway drug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, a lot of Mormons are addicted to soda and Mountain Dew and stuff because in the Mormon religion you can't have alcohol and you can't have coffee because they're stimulants. But soda didn't exist when they made up those rules, so there was like a loophole that they can drink soda, and now they drink so fucking much soda.
So they actually have parties with soda and chips.
Yeah, just like whacked out on Mountain Dew. Yeah.
I guess it's better than mouthwash.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, or gasoline.
Yeah, it's better than downing Listerine.
Or like windshield wiper fluid.
Yeah, paint thinner.
I don't understand how people can do that.
The one thing that is sounding cool though more and more is microdosing LSD.
Like Joe Rogan.
I have heard of that.
Yeah, it helps with depression a lot, but also in like in Silicon Valley, this guy was going on like the people take drugs constantly, but like drugs that get you more creative, that get you doing things, that get you working hard. And then once you're successful and established, then you get drugs to make your life last longer and to be immortal, basically. So Adderall and Xanflex or whatever it was called, Xanax, and but LSD microdosing is like, and you take like 10%, so you don't hallucinate, you don't get high or anything, but it concentrates you apparently. And the first time I heard about it, it was a woman who'd written a book about it, and it had helped her enormously. And her kids were like asking her, "Mom, could you microdose LSD again? We really liked you when you were doing that."
Mom, you're way more chill when you're high.
I find mushroom tea helps. Like the psilocybin, it helps with depression. I find for me, like it gets me through a full depressive cycle.
Nice.
There's this cocoa that is also like some sort of like psychoactive or something property to it. I don't know.
Wait, cocoa?
Yeah, it's like a raw cocoa or something, and you're supposed to drink it as a tea, and it's supposed to like chill you out or do something. I don't know. I had a friend who like worked on a cocoa farm, and she sent another friend some. She said it tasted like dirt, so she couldn't get through it. But apparently, it's supposed to do something if you can drink it.
Interesting.
If I know something's really healthy, I can definitely down it, even though it's not the greatest tasting thing. I mean, that's the whole thing, right? To eat salad instead of fries.
Like
Even though
kombucha.
Salads can be really good.
what's that? Salad can be tasty. Yeah, absolutely.
I like
Yeah.
salad, but I can't do. I drank a thing that had like activated charcoal in it once and lemon, and it was supposed to be some sort of like health drink. It was horrible. It actually just tasted like dirt.
Did it do anything?
I
No,
really don't understand the new obsession with charcoal. Like, what is the
I don't either.
benefit supposed to be?
It doesn't taste good. Like I was like, oh cool, this drink's like all black. I'll try it. Why not? No, it was gross. It didn't taste like lemonade either. It kind of tasted like when you throw up in your mouth.
Oh my god.
Oh my God. So
So like it tastes like when you throw up in your mouth, and then what if you throw up in your mouth a little bit after you drink it? Is it like double that?
double bad.
Double.
Then you have to like have it in your mouth again, even though you just choked it down.
Oh, wow.
At what point does it stop being worth?
Yeah, what a podcast today. We've gone from appearing homeless in the park to giving away your children to now the taste of vomit in your mouth.
It's similar to activated charcoal.
We could probably draw some lines to connect all those things, like taking paths that we never took in our conversation. The taste of vomit in your mouth could be like the after effect of giving away your kid.
Mm-hmm.
If you have conscience.
Part of that guilt.
And
Oh
giving away
God, that's bad.
But like the kid you gave away was one that you found in the park, who was homeless.
your-
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Just
So it's about like a Yankee swap of kids you find in the forest.
Yeah.
Someone else will take it. You grab another one.
Oh wow.
it's like trying to donate someone else's blood.
Well, maybe there's a movie concept in there. It's sort of like The Purge. You just come with all your kids, and then it's like everyone can kill everyone, and whoever survives, you just take a kid home at the end of the day.
Oh my God. Yeah, a better one.
And if your kids misbehave, if the kids misbehave, you can tell them that Santa isn't going to bring them any presents. He's just going to bring them activated charcoal.
Your stocking instead of coal, it's activated charcoal in your stocking.
Yeah.
That's
a very 2017 Santa.
It really
We're
is.
all very health conscious.
That needs to be the new thing. Instead of coal in your stocking, it's activated charcoal.
I feel like if you were a really poor family though, in like the Victorian times, and you got free coal, like I think your parents
Yeah.
would be okay with that. Now you get to keep the fire going for them every night.
Well, it was probably that era's gift that was given because they wanted it themselves. Like the parents give it, you're in trouble, but then it's like, so
Like actually
we'll
just need the coal.
since you're not going to do anything with this trouble gift, I'll just put it in the fire.
We got really angry, and so we threw it in the fire.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, it's well, it's like, have you heard the whole thing about like wrapping up empty boxes and putting them under the tree, and then like if your kid's bad, you take a gift, you take one of those boxes and you throw it in the fire?
Oh my God.
I have heard that, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, kid's bad, you just take one of their so-called gifts, toss it in the fire.
Merry Christmas. Here's childhood trauma.
Yeah, exactly.
Repressed memory.
Have fun with therapy.
Yeah.
Keeps on.
There was this, I can't remember what this was called, but there was this series of YouTube videos a few years ago about this kid who like absolutely tormented his brother. He tricks him into thinking he's throwing his Xbox out the window,
Was that
and then
the
he throws and
Warcraft kid?
no, I know the kid you're talking about, but this was a different thing. And he throws this Xbox out of the window, and the kid watches it smash. And then he shows him that he didn't, or I can't remember how he pulled the trick off, but like he literally, I think he bought an Xbox just for the sake of, like tormenting his little brother and breaking it.
Damn.
Seems like a pretty expensive way to be an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah, my sister would just like try and suffocate me or something with a pillow when I was a kid, or like push me down the stairs. That's what you're supposed to do to your younger siblings.
I love that you frame that like that's better than the other thing. No, like no one ever went that far with me. They just tried to suffocate me with a
They
pillow.
just tried to like make me disappear, yeah.
I do remember the Warcraft kid though. That was an interesting series of videos.
Yeah, I don't believe that he actually responded in that way. And that was fake for sure.
What happened with those?
It's like it was like this kid and his brother's like, oh, I deleted your Warcraft account. And the kid just goes absolutely apeshit. Just loses it.
He basically got a lot of vindictive pleasure out of just, filming his brother having tantrums and like sharing them.
Yeah, because there's other videos of this kid like just easily being pushed over the edge and then freaking out.
But then they did this weird video that was like sort of an epilogue to the whole saga. And it was like, you find out that the kid's life at public school has been like forever changed because of these videos. And the kid, who is notorious for freaking out and panic and stuff like that, he's just sadly sitting in a tree. Like telling his brother to go away and stop filming me and stuff. And he just does a complete 180. And it's this very weird sort of, it's like that scene at the end of, I don't know, a movie where they've kind of met a weird compromise or something, or they meet in the future. Yeah. It may have been one of the first like stupid YouTube things that had like a story arc. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like it was just like a long, sophisticated, like, well, not sophisticated, but a long trick on everyone.
Yeah.
Did it took perhaps organically, or that they had the intention to do? So it's almost like a web series.
Almost, yeah. I don't think it was planned. I think it was organic.
I mean, they probably started with one video, and then it got so much attention, like, let's do another.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
And like partway through, like, all right, well, they just like, where can we go from here?
And either created or simply the brother did actually take that 180-degree change. Are you friends with your sister now, Emma?
Huh?
Are you friends with your sister now?
Yeah, sort of. Sure. Siblings, I think, are always like the same, like older to younger. Especially, I think if you're maybe like 3 or 4 years apart, because you're old enough to still play together. But like, there's that hierarchy of I'm the older one, so you have to do what I say.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were 5 years apart, and I most definitely tortured my sister and such. But we're good today.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think, like, me and my sister have like the same sense of humor and stuff now, because like you grow up in the same family and like whatever. So like you're good as adults, but when you're kids, you want to like kill each other.
Well, and even at that, I mean, if we're together today, like more than 3 days in the same house, it starts coming back.
Family vacations definitely turn into like, okay, now I remember why we need to not be around each other as much.
Visits are good.
That's I've had that happen in the holidays too, where it's like certain family members.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's so great to reconnect, and then I don't know. Like, it was a few years ago, I was staying back in my hometown for Christmas and stayed with family for like a few days, and like a day into it, I'm like, all right, this is why I can't stay with you.
Pretty much.
I have a best friend who I stay with once a week, and that's plenty, and down in the city, and we're brothers, basically. Like, he's a Trump supporter even, and yet we still have been able to hang out, and that's brotherly love on some level, like when you just are going to hang out, even if you have diametrically opposed views on the world.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely brotherly love.
I have completely like different views on like everything that my sister does, but like As long as we don't get into it at the dinner table, then everything's good.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah,
I've kind of learned that throughout this presidency, regardless of how different you might stand politically with someone, there's always like some common ground with the person. So,
I think if you're talking to a person who's a generally moral person, even if they have different political views, you'll come to some sort of mutual understanding. Yeah.
Yeah.
You sort of like there's constructive sort of conversations that are a lot of fun to have, and then there's just people who don't, want to try to speak from other people's views, and it just ends up being really unpleasant.
Slam at each other. Well, and if you've known someone for just a really, really long time, I mean, it's just positive to sort of share life experience a little together. Just be like, here we are in life. Just share that moment.
Absolutely. I think we're kind of coming up to the end. I know, Michael, you have to leave soon, right?
Yeah,
Michael?
that's the truth.
Okay.
Well, should we read a little bit from the script or no?
Not this time around. We're going to read next time. I didn't plan anything this. I mean, if people want to pull the script, we could certainly, but I think next time we'll be a little more prepared.
Okay.
Before we go, though, I'm just going to do a quick shout out to all of our backers so far. Sorry, what was that, Michael? Michael, were you going to say something?
I didn't say anything.
Sound like someone's going to say something. Anyways.
Hello?
Until we get more backers, everyone's going to be read off during the live stream, just because it is a lower number. So thank you to all of our backers so far: Colin Weatherby, Milani Hernandez, Andreas Nelsmiller, and Kai. You guys are awesome. Thank you for supporting us. And for anyone else, if you want to support us, links are in the description for our Patreon and Kickstarter. Feel free to contribute to either or both. And also the Facebook page, go and like for updates. Alrighty, folks.
Sweet.
We'll be back in a few weeks with our December live stream. And we'll actually do it in December this time. All right. If you guys want to, for
Afternoon, everyone.
all right. Have a good night.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.